Hi, everybody. Here we are. We're going to talk about how to inhale an electronic cigarette. This might sound funny to those of you who've watched my other episodes and already pretty much know about electronic cigarettes. This video is intended more for the new guys and gals out there. Of course, I do have something at the end of this video for everybody, especially my subscribers. So pay attention. I have a question to ask everybody out there. More importantly, let's talk about how to inhale. We might not realize this, but this is probably one of the most important things as far as moving over from a regular cigarette to an electronic cigarette. Why that is if you inhale incorrectly, it can result very negatively for you. First thing that we really need to define about the electronic cigarette is that you want to have a nice and slow drag on these. It isn't a suction contest. In fact, if you suck too hard on these, what's going to happen is you can get some liquid that will actually get into your mouth. It tastes very nasty. In an extreme case, it can actually make you sick. You might vomit, things of that nature, depending on how your system is and how sensitive you are. Those are extreme cases, but it can happen. So first off, first time using this, be careful. And that is just because every body experiences things differently. Even though you are taking in nicotine through your regular tobacco cigarette, you have to remember that the nicotine is being delivered to your body in a slightly different form. What I mean by that is it's a vapor, water-like. So your lungs absorb it just a little bit quicker, and of course you're going to get that nicotine to your body a lot faster than a normal tobacco cigarette and that normal smoke would be. So of course the very first time trying this, you don't want to be driving a car, machinery, anything of that nature, just because it's just plain smart, right? Of course, the very first time that you do it, depending on the amount of liquid that you use, my advice to you is have a nice drag the very first time, and give it a minute or two. It's not a contest of how much I can try in the very beginning. Another thing that I have noticed with these too is a lot of us, I did this a few times, I wound up getting some liquid in my mouth, and the main reason for that is I was trying to show it off. I had somebody near me and they're like, how does that work? And I wanted to get that great vapor output for them, so I was like, and here I came out with just a little bit of liquid in my mouth, and they're like, whoa, well, that doesn't look very enjoyable. Why would I want to try that? All right, so take it easy the very first time. Nice and slow inhales. That's the way you want to go. I'm not going to inhale each time and show you. You guys have seen in my other episodes actually taking in this vapor and expelling it. There are a couple of techniques there. When I first started, what I did was I took a very quick drag just in my mouth and then one into my lungs. That does work well of getting a nice big vapor output, which is similar to smoke. It feels that way to your throat. Of course, you are risking getting some of that liquid actually into your mouth. So that's something that I don't highly recommend. The way to go is nice and slow. That's right. 6, 7, 8 second draw on one of these things is a great way to do that. Of course, you can only complete that usually with a manual electronic cigarette. Check out some of my other videos there. I'll get more into that. A manual one has a button that allows you to control the actual battery being on and using the electronic cigarette, where an automatic is going to shut off only after a few seconds. So that's one of the things to note. Manual versus automatic. You always want to really go with the manual. Of course, your amount of nicotine in a liquid is also important. The heavier of a smoker that you are, my recommendation to you is a lower dosage amount of nicotine. There's no need to increase your nicotine level when you change to this habit, right? So 12 is something that I personally do as I wind up smoking pretty much most of the day, or as it's called, vaping, using my E-Cig that I do have there. So you even have 6 milligram, and you can even go to 0 if you're trying to kick the habit. For me, I didn't change my habit. I just changed what I was putting in my body from that tar and the things that you see with regular cigarettes to this. So that's kind of good. Take it easy over your first week of trying one of these. Get familiar. And then from there, you can kind of move on. I mean, it's kind of like driving a car. You don't just jump on the highway. You go down the side streets, or actually in a parking lot. We all started off, and go from there. Oh, speaking of driving, everybody, I highly recommend don't drip and drive. It is something that I've done myself there too, and it's difficult. You're kind of driving a car, you're sitting there, you're trying to drip that you have in traffic. I thought cell phones are bad. Doing this is a little bit more difficult. For those of you using these, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Again, if you're very new to this, what I'm speaking about is actually putting your own liquid into these. It's very easy to do. You have two different ways. You can buy pre-filled cartridges, or you can, of course, put your own liquid in there that you do purchase. It's a lot cheaper going that route. A lot of us have done that. I personally do that myself. So that's one of the things really to get to know as far as how to inhale. Again, nice and slow drags. The other thing that I'd like to point out before we move on here is, of course, you can put your lips all the way around it and take that nice slow drag. Or what I've actually done is I've left just a little bit of my lips open where I get a little bit of regular air in there too. And it's just two separate techniques, something to try there. But I do recommend that you do try both ways that you have there. Other than that, the only other thing I could really point out is after several months, I noticed that I try to inhale even more. My lungs have improved as far as my lung capacity. So, of course, I am inhaling a lot longer. And now we get to the big question, something that I was talking to all of you about, and that is, for those of you who are my subscribers, you know my other episodes, you've been to my website, ZeeCigs.com, you might have noticed that there's an About Us section, and I worked on cruise ships for about 12 years. A little known fact about cruise ships are there's a pretty hefty medical that's involved, and that physical is done every year. That physical includes a lot of things, including an x-ray. And is an x-ray of your chest, and it is done. It's for TB, I do believe there. And it's something that I did note that I had happened for many years. So my question to all of you out there is, I don't want to go out and do all of this unless I know that you guys are curious about this too, because there is a financial consequence to me going out and do this. I know for fact, 2008 Vancouver, that hospital should have a record of my x-ray of my lungs, and as I was a big 20-year smoker, right, as we all know there. So my question to you is, do I wait now 6 to 8 months and go into a doctor's office and have an x-ray done and compare the two of them and show them to all of you out there? I'm just curious whether you want to know about that or not. Very simply, give me your votes and I will tally them up. Just put it in the comments on this YouTube video that we have right here. Yes, Shawn, I would think it'd be pretty cool if you tried it, or no. Who knows what the results are going to be, right, everybody? But it's a question that I've really been thinking about doing, and let me know what you think. Other than that, stay tuned for other episodes. Check out my old ones, and I thank you all for watching. Bye-bye.